Hello there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan, and today I want to talk about good versus evil. A very common dichotomy that has been spoken about by most major cultures and religions since the beginning of time. While most early interpretations seek to place good and evil at opposite extremes of one another, over time other philosophers would develop more complex ideas and begin to question if such states even existed in the natural world. Perhaps good and evil only exist in the minds of those who are judging others. Is it evil when a predator catches its prey and then consumes it for sustenance? Well, it depends on who you ask. A naturalist will say no, animals must consume as a matter of survival, so this is not evil. But from the point of view of the prey, one might see the entire situation quite differently. For me, walking through a walking fridge of frozen meat opens my mind up to endless culinary opportunities, but for a cow to walk through that same meat locker, well, it might seem like some type of horrible torture dungeon. Now, watching a butcher separate an animal carcass into different cuts and stuff might not be that terrible to watch, but imagine if someone did the same thing to humans. It'd be a horror film. Now, one of the things the recent Mandoverse has done quite well is bring a sense of moral ambiguity to the Star Wars franchise. It really makes people stop and think for a second. The split between good and evil is not as clear as it once was. With the Rebels and Empire in the original trilogy, it was clear which side was good and which was not. It was almost like a fluff piece, though, if we're being honest. I like to call the original trilogy Rebel propaganda simply because it does such a good job at hiding the reality of what the conflict was actually like. Something that Rogue One, the Battlefront 2 campaign, and Andor does a much better job at showing us. But before we get there, a quick word from our sponsor. For today's video, ownasaber.com, they have an amazing deal for you guys right now. With any new purchase of a lightsaber, you'll be getting a free lightsaber carrying case depending on which one you choose. For Padawan sabers, you'll be getting this black and silver case. For Master sabers, you'll be getting a box like this case, and for Replica sabers, you'll be getting one of these black cases. As you can see, I got one of these babies, and they actually hold quite a lot. You can put the tube of your lightsaber up there, and you can hold at least 2 hilts on the bottom, and there's room for some of the other things like the little screwdrivers and all the other connector plates that you have. So overall, I think it's a pretty cool thing to have if you want to travel with your lightsabers and keep them safe. This special starts today and ends on the 29th of October. In order to get a free case with your lightsaber purchase, be sure to use the promo code FREECASE, that's all caps, at checkout. For more information, check the description down below, and as usual, thank you for your patience. On to the rest of the video. So, The Mandalorian has really muddied the waters on what is good or bad. For instance, we're starting to see more and more of the New Republic, the successor government of the Rebel Alliance. And surprise, it's not really doing a good job. I'm not even sure if we're supposed to be rooting for them. They're stumbling all over themselves and completely incapable of governing this galaxy. And its incompetence is at such a high level, I would argue that the New Republic's existence could be perceived as detrimental for the galaxy. It's constantly throwing up roadblocks in front of people who are actually trying to help out and do the right thing.
I'm requesting authorization and backup for dealing with pirates on Navarro, sir.
Equipment I'm archiving, it's all coded to be destroyed.
Looks like it.
But it's all still perfectly good.
It's Imperial technology.
Yes, but they can still be put to good use.
If I could get approval to send a task force to the Denab system, I could find out.
General, be honest. Isn't this just another attempt to gain New Republic resources?
It's criminally incompetent in how it deals with the Imperial remnant. This is why in the core worlds on Corellia, you literally have the theft of entire hyperdrives by Imperial sympathizers.
Stop that ship.
I can't do that, General. They've been cleared for departure.
I said stop that ship. That's an order.
You even have stormtroopers taking over entire towns in the Outer Rim. Sure, it's not Republic territory, but it borders it.
I advise disgraced magistrate Grief Karga to search the wisdom of his years and urge you to lay down your arms and come outside.
Even on their individual ships, the lack of security is alarming.
It's quite a surprise meeting Jedi out here.
Our existence remains a mystery to most, Captain Hale.
And so yeah, incompetence can be deadly. For the New Republic cruiser Vesper, Captain Hale's arrogance in the situation caused them all their lives. Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati are the ones who execute them. Now, normally there is no justification for the cold-blooded murder of a dozen people. Even if they are in the military and signed up for that danger, all lives are precious, but the motivations behind Baylan, who is an ex-Jedi and now currently a mercenary, are quite unique. You see, he's not seeking power for power's sake. He's not a selfish individual necessarily. Most of his actions are actually driven by rationale and his life experience.
As you get older, look at history. You realize it's all inevitable. Fall of the Jedi, rise of the Empire. It repeats again and again and again.
You see, unlike other Jedi who have left the Order, Baylan Skoll has not fallen to the dark side. He's still in control of himself to a certain degree, and he's definitely not a Sith Lord. And it's because of that control he's able to hold on to his principles, the ones he learned as a Jedi, and so we see his dedication to honor, his desire to avoid bloodshed. Yes, he's able to do dastardly things, like kill everyone on board of a New Republic cruiser. He's able to strike Ahsoka Tano down in a fit of rage. He's not doing this because it's fun or he enjoys hurting people. He's doing this because he believes in a cause, in a mission that hopefully in the long run will bring more peace and stability to the galaxy, that it outweighs all of his previous crimes, or at least that's the hope. And if you think about it, let's say in World War II, the Allies, despite being the good guys in that conflict, were responsible for doing some pretty crazy and you could say evil things. The United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan, and they firebombed the hell out of Japanese and German cities. The amount of collateral damage was horrendous and worse than anything you would see even on TV today. And the Soviet Union, well, for all those people out there who always claim that the Soviet Union stopped Hitler, well, from 1922 to 1933, the Soviets leased land to the Germans to allow them to circumvent the Versailles treaties. This allowed Germany to secretly train its future tank corps and air force out of the sight of any Western observers. It also gave the Germans a safe place to design and build their future war machines as well. And of course, had the Soviets not stabbed Poland in the back and helped the Nazis take over the country in 1939, it's very possible that World War II would have never expanded as much as it did. And so while it's clear the Allies were the good guys, it's completely fine, if not necessary, to scrutinize all of the individual actions of the so-called good guys. I mean, guys, we don't need to live in a black and white world like the Jedi versus the Sith. We can be smart and courageous. We should encourage empathy and nuance in our understanding of things, so that when we do approach decisions, when we make those decisions, not if, when we choose a side, we know to choose the right side. And to me, Baylan Skoll's view of the galaxy is simply more interesting than most other Star Wars characters in the show, and that's because it's not exactly one that we've seen before. You know, Ahsoka, Hera, Sabine, and the rest of the gang are focused on really one thing in the first season, and that is stopping Thrawn. Now, the motivations they have here make sense. You could even say that this is a morally righteous thing for them to do, to stop Thrawn, because Thrawn will start a war once he returns to the galaxy. But the thing is, their main purpose, their main goals are completely reactionary and based on what another person's going to do. Baylan Skoll, on the other hand, he has a vision. He has a goal all by himself.
The only reason I'm here is to secure the future.
For you?
Something far greater.
Now, granted, we have no idea what Baylan actually wants. It's hinted that whatever it is, it A, has something to do with the tales he was told about as a youngling in the Jedi Temple, and B, it has something to do with an immense power that seems to communicate with Baylan somehow, and C, it's possible that the Celestials, the son, the daughter, and the father, and the mother Abeloth might have something to do with it. And how all that turns out will really help us judge whether Baylan Skoll is a good or evil character, that and the sum of all of his actions. At the end of the day, what you believe in doesn't seem to matter much to victims. Even intent is not necessarily that important. What is important is the overall effect of your actions. And Baylan Skoll clearly believes that the New Republic and the Republic before it was corrupt and capable of great evil. He also sees a futility in the current political process, the shift between Republic to Empire and back. The constant wars are unnecessary and cause suffering. Baylan Skoll has snapped. I mean, he's finally come to the point where he's given up hope on the current government and society, that has been put in place to keep things stable. And this happens to a lot of people when they finally open their eyes and start looking around and understanding just how the world works. Baylan Skoll has seen nothing but instability all of his life. He saw all the major institutions that were supposed to be the cornerstones of civilization collapse around him. Even the Jedi Order cannot escape this fate. And this has completely changed and shaped Baylan Skoll into the man he now is. An individual who is pursuing some higher cause, stability, peace. And unlike other Jedi like Count Dooku, Baylan Skoll doesn't simply just lose control and go to the dark side. He really does separate himself from all those Darksiders and other Force ideologies.
Your legacy, like your master's, was one of death and destruction.
He actually hates Anakin for his betrayal of the Jedi Order. He actually hates the Sith for all the destruction and suffering they've caused for the galaxy. There's even a part of Baylan Skoll that kind of misses the Jedi.
Do you miss it? The Order?
I miss the idea of it.
And this is because Baylan Skoll, again, is a complicated and well-created character. He's able to delay personal gratification, keep his emotions in check. Those are the abilities of a Jedi, but he's also able to combine those Jedi abilities with a pursuit of power that might be deemed Sith-like by others. And as an individual unaligned with the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant and the Jedi and Sith, he seems to believe that destruction of all of these orders and institutions would usher in peace. He's already done all he could do to make sure that Grand Admiral Thrawn would return to the normal galaxy, which will start another conflict, and perhaps whatever hidden powers he will find on Peridea, he'll personally wield to make sure that the next ruler of the galaxy is competent, compassionate, and much more capable than any government that has come before. Of course, this only works if Baylan Skoll is powerful enough to control this power he is seeking. If it's Abeloth, he'll probably just be consumed by it and turn into a sock puppet for her. But I do believe that if Baylan Skoll has the power to control it, he is a well-intentioned individual. I believe in the things he says. I really think he is looking for better results for the galaxy here. In a lot of ways, Baylan Skoll is a noble figure. Even his stature, the way he stands and he wields a sword is king-like. Of course, the one thing that is hard to assess about Baylan Skoll is just his competency. Oftentimes we talk about how fear and selfishness and greed can derail even the best intentioned projects, but incompetency is equally as big of a problem. And let me tell you something, the Jedi are not really taught how to govern or rule other people. And so even if Baylan Skoll's intent is good, all throughout history there have been plenty of individuals who have meant very well who have caused a lot of destruction. So guys, that is my video for today. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the future for Baylan Skoll. Is he headed towards greatness or infamy? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy.